Hi everyone, my name's Kieran from CRMCS, and today we're going to be looking at how we manage our database capacity in Dynamics 365. Now, as an admin of Office 365 and Dynamics, I'm sure a lot of you will have been starting to see these types of emails across the various Dynamics instances that you manage. And what we're able to do is click on this Manage Capacity button, which takes us to the Power Platform Admin Center, and we can see exactly what is contributing to the storage size that has resulted in us receiving those emails. So as we can see here, our database is actually over capacity by around 8 gigabytes. So to drill into that even further, if we click on the Dataverse tab, open up our instance, in this case it's CRM Consultancy, and we can see, once this is loaded, we should be able to see a little table of what is actually causing, what's contributing to the storage. So we can see here that the async operation base is actually around, let me just put that back, is actually around 2 gigabytes, the 9 gig. So obviously that's not going to clear up the 9 gigs that we need in our entirety, but it's a good place to start. And for most people and most businesses, this async operation base is usually the main contributor. I've had various clients that I've had to clean up, and the async operation base is massive in some regards. It's fairly simple to clean up. We can do this by just using bulk delete jobs in Dynamics. So if we open up our instance of Dynamics, click on the settings in the top right and go to advanced settings. And then we drop down settings, we go to data management, and we go to bulk record deletion. So the async operation is a number of things. It's mostly to do with the actual system jobs that are going through the system. So things like processes and or the workflows that are running in the background. For the most part, we don't really need to see any system jobs like workflows once they've succeeded. There's no real benefit in saving them. It might be worth keeping them for a certain amount of time, say maybe 1 month, 2 months, but it's certainly not worth keeping a load of failed or succeeded or cancelled workflows from years ago, which if you've never actually run these bulk delete jobs, then that's what's going to happen. And over time, those jobs will add up. In some cases, we've run these bulk deletes and the total number of records being deleted is in the millions. So as you can imagine, that contributes to a fair amount of database storage. So if we go into data management again, go to bulk record deletion, we're going to be looking at deleting 3 things. So we're going to be looking at deleting process sessions, trace logs, and system jobs. So if I go to new, go to next. First of all, choose the entity that I want to delete from. So I'm going to choose system jobs. I can narrow it. So what I can do is I can just delete all system jobs. If your database is around a similar size to ours, or it's not massive, and there's not actually too much going on in our async operation base, we could probably get away with deleting our entire load of system jobs without having any repercussions. It might, if your database is on a larger size, or you still want to be able to report or at least look at when a particular job was run, then it's maybe a good idea to decide on a retention period. So anything older than 3 months, anything older than 2 months, etc. And you can also do it by the status as well. So if we only want to delete completed system jobs, if we've got system jobs that maybe are held for a couple of months before they run, then obviously we don't interrupt any of those. So we can start with completed jobs and maybe any jobs created that are older than, let's say, 3 months. So obviously we're able to preview those records, so we can have a look through and just make sure that the ones we're deleting are actually, well, don't have any use to us and are okay to be deleted. So depending on the size, obviously this could take some time. If you're familiar with XRM Toolkit, then you'd be able to find the exact number of records that you're going to delete by using a record counter, a fetch XML record counter, because obviously when you're looking at records in Dynamics, you only ever see the 5,000 plus. But if we're removing 5,000 plus records, that's still going to take a dent out of the 2 gigabytes that we currently have in async operations. So I'll just go back to the query so we can see that again. So I'm looking at system jobs that were completed and are older than 3 months. So I then go to next, give that a name. So I'll call that completed system jobs older than 3 months. Okay, so I can choose when I want to run that. So let's just say I want to run it right now, as soon as possible. So 8 minutes to 3 on the 19th, which is today's date and time. And then to keep on top of this, I can set this job to be recurring. So if I run this every month, any jobs older than 3 months, obviously it's going to delete anything past May, anything past May, sorry. So if I run this every 30 days, then by the time we get to September, it'll then delete June and so on and so forth. So it allows you to keep on top of this sort of thing without somebody having to manually come back in and run these jobs every time. So I'm going to set this up, completed system jobs older than 3 months, run as soon as possible, and then run every month. I could obviously drop that down to a week, but 30 days will do the job here. So I'm going to submit that. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to be looking at 2 others, so the trace logs and process sessions. So for traces, it's pretty much the same thing as the system jobs. So I can look at when they were, let's say, last updated, as there's no creation date here. So older than 3 months again, older than 3 months, preview records. So 2020. So in this case, I probably want to change that a little bit to widen the net, as it were. So still not that many, but that's fine. Back to query. Let's just say let's delete all traces. So 2000, not that many, but still worth removing, as it obviously all adds up. So I'll just put all trace logs. Let's say we want to set this one out of hours. So I'll set this one for 6 o'clock today to run every 30 days. So submit that. And then finally, we'll do the process sessions. So search for process sessions. And again, similar to system jobs, we can look for status. So we only want to remove completed. Maybe status reason might give us a few more options here. Yeah, we'll use status reason instead. So use status reason equals completed. And again, we will say created on older than 3 months, preview records. I imagine this will be over. So system jobs for this particular instance is going to be the main contributor. I doubt there'll be many, actually. So I'll tell you what, let's widen the net again. So let's just get rid of any process sessions that are complete. Let's just say we want to delete all process sessions that are older than 1 month. So just widen the net a little bit again, not many, but still worthwhile. So let's remove that. So process sessions older than 1 month.
Just double checking that is, yeah. Process sessions older than 1 month. Again, run today.
As soon as possible, every 30 days. Next. And submit.
So then if I just drop down to my bulk delete jobs.
So we can see now that the completed system jobs is running now, and it's it gives you a count of how many records it's actually deleted. So obviously, so far it's deleted 3,100, and this will just keep ticking along until it's finished. If I go to pending or recurring, we should be able to see R3 here. So just fill it by my name. We can see we've got completed system jobs, all trace logs, and process sessions older than a month. So once they are all complete, the admin center doesn't update immediately. It might take a couple of days for this to actually reflect in the Dataverse. But what we should see is after those jobs are completed, the async operation base it shouldn't really even be on the table anymore. And as we've set these up to be recurring jobs to run every month, it'll just maintain itself. It'll just keep running those bulk deletes every month. So we should never really see async operation base on this table again. For every other instance, the database by capacity will be different. You might have a custom entity that contains a lot of data. You might be importing a lot of jobs like we have here. Activities is another one that can contribute a lot if you're using a lot of tasks for leads or opportunities, or you log in phone calls, that sort of thing. Again, maybe a good idea to think about a retention period. Do you really need tasks that are older than completed tasks that are older than 6 months, older than a year, maybe? All these practices are really good to stay on top of your database storage. We're also just going to take a quick look at the audit base. So 43 megabytes for our instance is obviously nothing to be worried about. But if you are a organization on the larger side with a lot of users and a lot of records, and you're auditing on your leads, your contacts, opportunities, then this log can again be quite substantial. And if you don't keep on top of it, it can get out of hand. So to remove the audit logs, we go to auditing, audit log management, and then we get a breakdown of each partition. So the audit logs are managed quarterly. So the first, when the actual audit started, it doesn't give you an exact date, but then that's, for this instance, it's up until October, and then it's October to December, then it jumps into quarters, so January to April, April to July, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, we're not able to see the size of each of these partitions, and the audit in itself doesn't really give you much information. We're not able to pick and choose the records that we want to delete auditing for. Say if we only wanted to remove auditing for leads older than X amount of months, unfortunately that is not an option. We have to delete everything from these timeframes or nothing at all. So again, this is where having a retention period or retention policy can come in handy. Maybe auditing past 12 months old. Do we need to see that anymore? Auditing past 2 years, depending on the size of your organization. But to delete the audit logs, really simple. Just tick the box, click delete, tells you where we're deleting from. Click delete. Depending on the size, obviously that'll run through, and then it's just repeating that process. We can't select multiple and delete that way, unfortunately, so it is quite manual. And unlike the bulk delete jobs that we just set up, we're not able to set it to recurring, so we can't just delete. We can't set up a rule to say delete audit logs older than a year, run every 30 days. Somebody will have to come in and actually delete these manually. But the database storage and log usage is obviously a little bit different in terms of the capacity model. But just to reiterate, the async operation based, which is usually the biggest contributor, we want to remove 3 things there. We want to remove the trace logs, the system jobs, and the process sessions. And we can do that by using the bulk delete functionality in data management. So once those jobs are set up, good idea to set them up so they're recurring. So they'll just run automatically after 7 days, 30 days, whatever you want to set it to. And that way, after a couple of days, when we log back into this storage capacity, we should see this database moving down. Paired that with the other things like removing activities and custom entity logs or activities and that sort of thing. Then, yeah, we should see that database drop below the maximum storage. So hopefully that helps anybody that needs it. If you've got any questions or you want to get in touch, then you can inquire through our website at crmcs.co.uk.